Alright, I'm doing it. Today I will be talking about astigmatism. Hi, I'm Gemily, an EndMyopia student. If you haven't heard of EndMyopia, it is a method of reversing short-sightedness back to 20/20 vision. It's all based on science, and if you'd like to find out more, I'll pop some links below in the description. I have only just dared to order glasses that do not have astigmatism correction in them. I will walk you through that, and stick around because at the end I will be giving you 5 tidbits of information to help you if you're trying to get your head around astigmatism correction and EndMyopia. Astigmatism is not the same as short-sightedness, although if you're short-sighted, your correction may also include astigmatism correction. They both disrupt your vision, but in different ways. So for short-sightedness or nearsightedness or myopia, when you get to a certain distance, things become fuzzy. The blur is kind of a general haze of lack of clarity. Whereas for astigmatism, the blur is different. It is a directional blur. So it looks more like ghosting. You see things twice with varying degrees of clarity. So obviously the EndMyopia method is to reverse your myopia, but it also includes how to reverse your astigmatism with your myopia. You'll know if you have correction for astigmatism if you look at your prescription, if you have access to it. And the first column will be spherical, which is your short-sightedness. And the second column will be your cylinder, which is astigmatism. So if you have numbers in the cylinder column, that means that you have correction for astigmatism. The last column is axis, which is which direction your astigmatism correction is going. So it doesn't matter if your axis is a high number or a low number. That is not a degree of severity, that just indicates which direction your directional blur is going in. So if any of this is new to you, then do not worry about changing your cylinder, your astigmatism correction, if you're working out what your normalized or your differential correction should be. Because if this is new to you, then you are not ready to mess with it. But do keep watching videos, reading articles on the EndMyopia blog, and learning. That is the exact right thing to do. I'm 9 months deep into doing the self-directed EndMyopia program, and during this time I have been chipping away at understanding how astigmatism correction works in this process. It's pretty complex. I mean, if you're really deep into it, you've probably figured it out and it's become a lot more clear. But when you're first trying to get your head around it, I think astigmatism is one of the hardest bits for a newbie to comprehend. And even though I'm 9 months in, as far as astigmatism correction goes, I am still learning. So I've only just dared to touch my astigmatism correction. So I'll walk you a bit through my process and then stick around because at the end I will give you 5 tips that have really stood out for me as very valuable information along my journey of learning and discovery. Let me give you a tiny bit of background. I have had astigmatism correction since I was 8 years old. I didn't develop myopia until I was 22. So that's 14 years of astigmatism with no short-sightedness. So my astigmatism history is quite long. I'm really fortunate that I had a fabulous optometrist when I was growing up and they did not increase my astigmatism correction. I remember one time they told me when I came in, like, okay, it could be a tiny bit higher, but you know, you don't need it, so don't worry. And I, clever girl that I was at the time, insisted on a new prescription because I wanted new frames. Oh, hindsight, how you taunt me. I have no history of what my astigmatism correction was. I was never given paper prescriptions. I just walked out with the glasses. I have no idea what was in my lenses besides the fact that it was for astigmatism. It's only when I started the EndMyopia process that I found a need to know my prescription. Isn't that funny that we're just so happy to leave our health in other people's hands and not even know the numbers? So when I started EndMyopia, I phoned my last 2 optometrists to find out what my previous 2 corrections were. I'm really lucky, they told me. And in my last 2 corrections, my astigmatism has changed a little bit. It has gone down. So I'm assuming it's gone down as my myopia has gone up. So I don't know what my astigmatism correction would have been without the myopia, if I were only being corrected for astigmatism. But as it is, my most recent prescription from an optometrist only leaves me with 0.25 diopters of astigmatism, which is pretty much the lowest they can give you. So why it is taking me so long to address this on one hand seems ridiculous because it's so easily fixed in my case. But on the other hand, the fact that it's so low, I've kind of not even bothered with it. But having made my most recent normalized reduction to, I think it's my N4s that I'm up to, after a week of blur, the blur cleared and I started getting double vision, which is a natural part of the process of clearing blur. Suddenly, I had double vision for close-up, which I haven't ever had before. Even my astigmatism, it was for reading the blackboard at school. It wasn't for close-up. Double vision for close-up was a new thing and it kind of got me thinking. For a minute there, I thought it was my astigmatism, but having chatted with some people on the forums, I've come to the very obvious conclusion that this is just ghosting, not my astigmatism suddenly jumping to super high amounts. But nonetheless, it has prompted me to get on with the astigmatism correction because directional blur sucks. So in my last video, these were my current glasses. I have my D3s and my N4s. So these N4s I'm still wearing. These are my current normalized. But since I have spoken to you, I have ordered new differentials. I'm going to get a new pair of differentials. Same spherical correction, but I'm gonna drop the astigmatism correction. I'm gonna drop it all because guess what? It's only a quarter of a diopter. It's not much. I don't buy my glasses from Zennies because I'm in Australia. So I get mine from clearly.com.au. They also have a New Zealand shop and I think they even have like a Canada shop. I'm gonna log in. Now I can go in to my prescriptions and I can see all the corrections I've bought so far. So at the top here, there's -5 and -7.5 pair. That's my most recent pair of differentials. They're the current ones I'm wearing. So very low. You'd think it was probably enough that I could get rid of them. You might notice that I'm not wearing glasses right now doing this, so I clearly can function without them, but I'm definitely already on a blur horizon. So like here is where I'm leaning in order to see. It's actually 44 centimeters. Normally I am about 80 centimeters away from the screen, so another 30 centimeters and I couldn't do that. The thing you can see here is that I've got a quarter of a diopter of cylinder in each eye. 0.25 diopters of cylinder in each eye. I can definitely just drop that for my differentials. So I'm gonna do that. So I've just clicked to use the current prescription. I'm assuming that at the end, before I click actual checkout, I'll be able to tweak it. So I've got here my favorited frames from previous times I visited. These are not frames that I've previously worn and liked. These are frames that I haven't used, but that I think I would like to try. You might notice that they are clear. Yes, even this one is clear. I've never used clear frames because the only thing I like about glasses is that they hide the bags under my eyes. So having clear frames is kind of like mean that there is no redeeming thing about wearing glasses at all. But I've heard from other EndMyopia student videos that it is a thing which is encouraged in EndMyopia. So I'm gonna get a pair of these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try on these glasses. Wow, it's portraying them as white. Interesting. They're pretty cool. What do the other ones look like? They're very dippy. I do like dippy. I think I'm gonna get these. Okay, let's give these ones a try. Let's just see what happens. Beautiful. Add lenses. Okay, so it's $49 for the frames, $19 for the anti-reflective coating on the lenses, which is $68. The thing with Clearly is that they often have buy one get one free sales. So considering I do need a lot of pairs of glasses, it seems actually quite reasonable to buy 2 pairs at once. I've already got my N5s ready and waiting to go. This is the correction for my N5s. -1.75 diopters spherical for each eye and -0.25 diopters of cylinder for each eye. And I might get a pair of N6s without any astigmatism correction. So I'm going to shop prescription. Now they won't be as big as they're showing. They often show them just a little bit big. Great. With the BOGO, $87. So it's not completely half price because the discount is $49. So it's a free pair of frames really. So it's effectively $20 to get a second pair of glasses. So I'm gonna do it. Okay, estimated arrival date, the 4th of June. So that is in about 10 days. That'll be perfect. I've just been working on my YouTube video that needs to launch today, and I've been having some trouble because I have lost my differentials. I've misplaced them. I don't know where they've gone. It's been a couple of days now that I haven't had them, and I haven't been able to wear my previous pair of differentials because I did a monocular drop. So the pair of differentials I've been wearing recently have been about, you know, this difference between the two eyes, and my previous pair is more like this difference, and my current Normalized is also this difference. So I can't just pop on my former pair of differentials because the ratio between the eyes is wrong. So I've been struggling with no glasses at all, which, you know, also isn't ideal because obviously you might think that it would be good to do my close-up work with no glasses if I can, except there is quite a lot of blur. So I'm getting very close to the screen. Probably not ideal. But just then, look what just arrived. My new glasses. Like, now that they've arrived, I'll probably find my other differentials this evening. No doubt. No doubt. Oh, I need some scissors. The box is very heavy too. Like, I don't know why it's so heavy for just 2 pairs of glasses. What's in here? Oh my! They come in cases now. All right, let's see what I've got. Let us see. Okay, ooh. Here they are, here they are. Oh, hello, that is good. Now, clear frames, really? Okay, these are definitely the differentials, no question. Oh, wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, thank goodness I can see my screen. Yes, please. I'm gonna start using these now. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, that was so exhausting. Do excuse me, I'm all ready for bed. I'm a bit shiny on the face. But I said that now that these differentials had arrived, I would, no doubt, find the pair of differentials that I have been missing for the last couple of days. So these are my new differentials. They are my D4s, as you can see right here. These are now astigmatism correction free. Even though it's not necessarily manifesting as now I see directional blur, although it's not the same as normal fuzziness either. It's just, I guess, for such a small amount at such a short distance, it's not super clear visually what was happening, but definitely something. So these are how my new differentials look on me. I still don't know how I feel about clear frames. And my husband saw me wearing these and he said, "You cannot pull those off." So that was encouraging. But on the other hand, my sister saw these and she said that they are so cute and that they are her favorite glasses of mine. So, I don't know. What do you reckon? Does it make my face look too round? So, that's me. Let's get to the tips. The first tip I have picked up about astigmatism correction is leave them alone to begin with. So I left them alone to begin with just because I put it in the too hard basket. Turns out, now that I've done some proper research, that for your first Normalized and your first differentials, you probably don't want to touch your cylinder anyway. The important thing is to start simple and just make sure that you have the process worked out. So you know that you can make spherical drops. Just easing your eyes into it. That might seem surprising considering you drop spherical correction by 1.5 to 2 diopters for your first pair of differentials, so why don't you automatically drop a certain amount of astigmatism? Only our dear guru Jake is the fount of all knowledge and wisdom on this topic, but my guess is that if you make things too different at the beginning and then something's not right, there's a lot more that you have to play with to try and work out what's right. Whereas if you just make a small change at the beginning of one thing, if it's not right, well, there's only one thing you've changed. So for your second pair of differentials, you can bring in your shouldn't we be reducing cylinder just like spherical for differential kind of logic. But by how much? I took a long time to find the answer, but it is there, it is on the blog if you do the reading. I found it in a wonderful article on the blog, which is Q&A, low myopia, high cylinder. Even though I don't have low myopia, high cylinder, and you might not have low myopia, high cylinder, the answers that you seek may well be in that article. And that's why reading the blog is so important. If you're doing this process for free, you don't have a really structured course. You have to find the information yourself from nuggets of gold that Jake has hidden like a treasure hunt all over the blog. So in this article, it says that if you have less than 1 diopter of astigmatism correction for your differentials, you can probably just drop it. Probably. I mean, this is generic and general ideas. It's not specific advice. Definitely not personally tailored for your situation, but this is what the article said. This might be a little more complex if your correction in each eye is different, because you want to be careful with not messing up your ratios. So for example, if you have 0.75 diopters of astigmatism in your right eye and only 0.5 diopters of astigmatism in your left eye, I can't say for sure whether you just drop the 0.5 diopters of astigmatism out of both, so you're left with 0.25 diopters of astigmatism in your right eye, just to keep the ratios even, or whether you would drop it all. I think if it were me, my instinct would be to keep it even and keep it the same as your normalized ratios. So if you have 0.25 diopters difference in your cylinder for your normalized, then you should also have that for your differentials. But this is just my best guess. If this is your situation, go and trawl through the blog and Jake's videos, and you never know what you'll find. The answer's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. This is what it looks like doing the free course. You're just trying to glean as much information as you can and put it together for yourself. If you decide to do Jake's paid Back to 2020 program, you won't need to do all this like trying to apply the knowledge to your logic and work stuff out. Jake will give you a much more structured course and give you guidance. Tip number 3. So just as you have to make a couple of drops in your normalized that are straight up plain and simple binocular spherical drops, so dropping the same amount of spherical in each eye, you should do that in your normalized twice before you start getting anything more complex. Because if you've dropped your normalized twice already, just using the very simple, straightforward, small spherical drops, then you kind of know that you're on the right track and you can do the process, you know how it works, and you can start introducing more complex things like equalizing and also cylinder correction. So you probably don't have to worry about touching your cylinder until your 3rd pair of normalized. Obviously for me, it was my 6th, but how quickly you need to get onto it kind of depends on how much astigmatism you have, how much myopia you have, so how long you've got and how much work you have to do. The 4th point is, when you reduce your cylinder correction, do not touch your spherical correction. You only reduce one thing at a time. These 2 pairs of glasses, the spherical correction is exactly the same. The only difference is this one is 0.25 diopters of astigmatism less. Don't drop a little bit of cylinder and a little bit of spherical at the same time. It's just a bit too much for your visual cortex to process. Cylinder is a bit more demanding on your brain anyway. So you might even need to give it a little bit of extra time than you normally do, just to let it all fuse properly. When you're reducing cylinder, be kind to yourself, make sure you're using really good habits, and don't rush. Point number 5 is, when you are reducing your cylinder, do it in alternate drops with your spherical. A spherical reduction, a cylinder reduction, a spherical reduction, a cylinder reduction. And if you are dealing with equalizing as well, it gets probably a little bit more complicated with timing It could be that your astigmatism is quite high, so equal to or greater than your spherical correction, in which case these alternate drops aren't really going to work. But to do that kind of thing, it's a little bit more complex. It might involve translating some of that cylinder into spherical over time. While you're dropping your cylinder, your spherical might go up a little bit. Like, I really recommend that you go and check out a lot more of the blog for that rather than just relying on this little video. That article that I've already mentioned, low myopia, high astigmatism, will probably be relevant even if you haven't got low myopia. Like, it gives some super duper information. And if this is your situation where your prescription, your cylinder prescription is quite high, like if you can afford it, I really recommend, if not joining the Back to 2020 program to get really good support, then at least spending the money to buy the rough guide packaged with the pro videos, because the pro videos go really in depth with some of these things. And also the pro videos, it's just a one-off payment. Like, you don't have to subscribe to things. Like, there are so many subscriptions these days, it drives me batty, but it's just a one-off payment. This pair of glasses that I got 1 year before I started EndMyopia were 3 times the price of access to the pro videos. Also, not sponsored, just really love them. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. Hit the little bell button below as well if you would like to be notified when I post new content. I have a new video every Thursday, so I will see you next week. Bye. For those of you who don't know what astigmatism is, it is... I'm not going to explain it all here. I mean, go do some research. And, you know, fair enough, in a way. In a way. Not really. I need more glasses for this. And because Zenny often, I don't order from Zenny, N6s. Oh, come on. These are how many takes do we want of this one sentence? All right, take 6. Here we go. Same sentence. That's not even true. I did like 6 takes of that sentence. Now I realize it's factually inaccurate. Let me try it again. So high. Let's try that again. Ah! I just dropped them. And my hair is making my face tickle. Ah! But anyway, they are not... Oh, goodness gracious. Oh dear. I guess that's good. Sure, why not?